Hello everybody, Jennifer from Scrapping Under the Influence. I am here with a new project for the design team at Doodlebug. I am using their brand new So Much Fun collection, and I've got a little folio of sorts here for you guys today. This is 8 by 10. It'll hold quite a bit because there's a lot of little pockets and things in here, and it all kind of flips and flaps and layers together. So on the back here, I've added one of the stickers from the this and that sticker sheet, which apparently is kind of crooked, but that's okay. It's handmade, it's not perfect. On the front, I do have a magnetized closure, and I used the adorable snowflake acetate for that. And what I did is I took some of the snow colorful shape sprinkles and kind of matched them up to the shapes on the snowflakes here and there on the front, and just added those to just add a little bit of color to that. When you open that up, this front section is actually a pocket, and I've got a little insert in here. So I used the little tab and the notepad from the bits and pieces. The inside is blank, and then I've got just some little odds and ends pieces on the back that are of course loose, so you could slip a photo behind those. On the front here, I used chit chat, odds and ends, and bits and pieces, and I added some of the gems to the centers of the snowflakes just for some little bit of interest. On the back side here, I've got some more odds and ends and chit chat and space for a large picture there. And then we've got two flaps here with diagonal pockets, and I've got just some very simple inserts that I've just matted on scraps of my cardstock that I used to build my base. And I've got some little odds and ends, some this and that stickers, that kind of thing, and these little diagonal pockets. These then flip up and out both directions, and you've got double belly bands with another little insert that is 3 by 7, I think. No, 3 by 8, I'm sorry. 3 by 8. I did mat the front of both of these little inserts with the tag sheet, with just the tag piece along the top cut off, and then the rest of it left whole. I just thought it was kind of neat looking, particularly since it's sitting underneath those belly bands, both top and bottom. So it is empty on the inside for pictures or journaling, and of course you can add pictures and things to the outside as well. On our next center section, we've got flaps with the snowflake acetate again, and I've used some of the matching solid cardstock for photo mats here. And what's really neat with the patterned acetate is it really kind of hides your adhesive. It makes it not like, oh look, there's adhesive on the front of that acetate. I don't know. So that's kind of cool. So I didn't have to add another photo mat back here if I didn't want to. And so I did leave that so you do see more of those snowflakes. You, of course, can put pictures back here as well. Over here on the left-hand side, we have a nice big 4x6 photo mat. Left the penguins loose and the bottom part of the little hello there loose to slide a picture under there. And then we've got a nice little spot in here for pictures as well. And then on this side, I did size my little flaps here to fit the 3 by 8 and the 3 by 4 journaling spots. So we've got the 3 by 8 there and there. Got a picture mat here and another journaling spot. Then we've got here and here, picture mat, journaling spot, and then picture mat and journaling spot, and then opposite when you get the other direction. And then this flap is actually sitting on top of another pocket, and I've got another little insert in here that just slides down in there. And then you just close everything up like so, and it all just folds in on itself and up and down, and then the little magnet underneath my Doodle Pop there to hold it all closed. So tutorial plays next. As always, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell if you want to be notified the next time I have a new project to post. And let's get to it. Okay, so for our base, we're going to start with a piece of medium weight chipboard that is 8 by 10. You're going to cover the back of that with tape. And to wrap it, we need a piece of cardstock that is 10 by 12. So I'm going to use my spacers. If you don't have spacers, you can just lightly score 1 inch on the 2 corners like that and use that to line it up. Or you can use scraps of chipboard to make your spacers. Any of that works. Okay. So I'm just going to use my spacers and drop that down. I actually don't need my 1.5 because we don't really have a spine on this, the way this one's going to go together. So I don't need that one. Alright, so now we're going to fold our cardstock around the chipboard. So I'm just using the chipboard to fold over and down. And then we're going to go ahead and miter our corners. So all I'm doing is I'm getting that little square out of that corner that we created when we folded everything around. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead with my 1/4 inch score tape. I'm going to run it around all of my outside edges. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull the backing off of each one of these. If you want to do it one at a time, you can do that. Absolutely. Okay. My bone folder. I'm going to come in here. And I'm going to run glue along the edge of the chipboard. Use the bone folder to push up and then over and down. Okay. This is just not wanting to play really nicely today, but that's okay. There we go. That's better. Okay. So again, up, over and down. And you'll just do that all the way around. And then I have a piece of cardstock that is 7 7/8 by 9 7/8 that we're going to put over the top of this just to give it nice clean edges. Both sides, or the entire back side of this is covered with tape. You want to use tape on this step so that this lays completely flat. You don't want it bubbling, which with this one, it's not as important as when we're doing the same process with an entire album, but it still just tends to go down a lot more smoothly. Okay, so there's our base. I'm going to move that aside for now, and we are going to start with our pieces for the front. So first up, I've got one piece that is 4 by 1 3/4, I'm going to put this in my scoreboard with the 1 3/4 across the top. Yes, I know mine's sideways. This way it feels like I'm drawing a line as opposed to trying to keep it straight, going up and down. So I need to score this at 1/2. Okay. And then 1 1/4. Okay. Our next piece is going to be our flap. This is 8 by 7.5. And with the 7.5 at the top, sorry, I had to think for a second, which way do I turn this? With the 7.5 at the top, we're going to score this at 1 inch. And then 1 5/8. Okay, there we go. All right, this piece is going to be the pocket that goes on top of this. Oh, somewhere. Oh, that's right. Okay. Oh, that's right. I did do that on purpose. Never mind. Okay. Sorry, I double checked myself. Our piece for our pocket is going to be 9 by 5 5/8. The 9 inch at the top, you're going to score at 1/2 inch, turn it, 1/2 inch, turn, and 1/2 inch again. So that way you have a 1/2 inch score on all 3 sides. The other piece you're going to need is a piece of the snowflake acetate that is 9 1/4 by 4. So this one I'm actually just going to set aside because we're not going to put this on until the very end, but we're going to attach everything else beforehand. So I'm just going to set this one aside. I'm going to move the scoreboard out of the way for just a second. Okay, so let's go ahead and build our pocket. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to miter the top corners. So you're going to go from your score line and just take a little wedge off. And then on your bottom corners, you're going to cut through where those score lines intersect. So that one you can see it a little bit better. Okay, so on the pocket where those 2 score lines intersect, you're going to cut straight across like so. Okay, so now I'm going to start with my bottom piece, and I'm going to fold and burnish that score line, and then I'll fold my sides in, do the same thing. Okay, so this is going to go at the bottom of our folio, so it will flip down. Okay, so with that in mind, with your score lines towards you, we're going to go ahead and put this down at the bottom. Before I do that though, I'm going to line it up and make sure it fits the way I want it to, that it's not too wide. And then I'm going to go ahead and put glue on the bottom. And adhere that down. And then do my sides. Okay. And adhere those down. Okay. So now we are going to miter on just the 1 inch section. This is our gusset. So we're going to miter. I'm going to fold just the 1 inch section and burnish it. Get my base. And this is going to go all the way at the bottom, like so. Now I can fold the other score line over and burnish that one down. And you'll see you now have that nice little gusset. Okay, up here we're going to miter on one side only. I'm going to fold and burnish the side that I mitered, and we're going to glue that down at the top, centered up at the top. So this is 8 inches, so it needs to go about like so. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm not going to fold my second score line on that yet because I'm just going to fold this back out of the way as we go ahead and go through and attach the rest of our pieces. Okay, so let's move on to our next section. Okay, on this section we are going to do pockets, flaps, and belly bands. So you need 2 pieces, 5 7/8 by 8. With the 5 7/8 at the top, you're going to score this at 1/2 inch. And at 7/8. Okay, like so. You're going to do the same on the other piece. And then we're going to do some diagonal pockets. So you're going to start with a piece that is 5 1/2 by 5 1/2. You're going to do 2 pieces. Okay. I'm going to score this at 1/2 inch on all 4 sides. Okay. I'm going to do that on both pieces. Take my paper trimmer and I'm going to line these up on the diagonal in here. You can do them one at a time. I'm going to do them both at the same time. Make sure the corners are lined up with where this is going to cut. And I cut my Post-it in half. I didn't pull it off. Not that it makes any difference, because it doesn't, but there you go. All right. So these are going to open top and bottom. Okay. So I'm going to line these up on my work surface so that on my top one, the score lines are facing away, and on the bottom, the score lines are facing towards me. Okay. So, for our pockets, on all 4 of them, I'm going to do 2 at a time here. You're going to cut through that bottom corner just like we did on our other pocket. Okay. And then on this top, you're going to do a fairly aggressive miter, like so. Okay. Just like that. You're going to do that on all 4 pieces. Like I said, I'm doing these 2 at a time. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and fold and burnish. So when you fold this over, when you fold that side in, any of it is showing from the side that's going to face out, just go ahead and trim it off. That's where, when I said you're going to do kind of a more aggressive cut when you miter that, that's what I was talking about. Okay. So on the bottom piece, so the one we've got where our score line is facing towards us, we're going to go like so. hopefully I sized these right. I just now realized where I may not have. But we'll see here. Actually, you know what? It's fine because they can overlap just a tiny bit and it's not going to matter. Okay. So I'm going to glue my bottom down on this one. So I'm going to run it to the outside and down to that score line. Okay, like so. Fold it back, and then I can do my other side. If you don't want them to overlap, then start with a square that is 5 by 5. 5 by 5? What would it be? Yes, 5 by 5. Okay, and then we can go ahead and do our sides up. Go, and there's your pocket. Okay, so I'm going to flip this over now. We're going to do the exact same thing on this piece. Only on this piece, the bottom of the pocket, yes, is going to go at the bottom of the flap, so your score lines are up here. Okay. Okay. And get our other one. Another option you could have had on this is turned one of them down here and the other one up here. If you wanted to do that, just to make it somewhere to kind of tuck some stuff in, where you could put, like, I don't know, like longer photo mats or inserts or something like that. But we're going to do it this way. Okay. And like so. Okay. So when it's closed, they're going to line up like this. When it's open, you're just going to see the back side. So let's go ahead on both of these and miter and the 1/2 inch. Grab our base. Go ahead and fold that 1/2 inch. And then we're going to go ahead and glue that in right by the score line. Okay. Except that's the wrong piece. This one goes up here. I'm like, wait a minute, something doesn't look right. That would be why. Not a big deal. We caught it before it dried. Not that you couldn't pull it out. Lord knows I've done that enough times. Except that this doesn't have any glue on it now. Okay, so now, before we actually, we can fold that score line and finish that one down so that it's ready to go. Before we put this one in, and that's where I got myself screwed up. So I'm going to go ahead and fold and burnish. And on this one, I'm going to go ahead and fold up my second score line. We didn't do that on the other one. The reason for this is I want to lay this where it needs to go and make sure I don't have a ton of overlap, which really, the way this one, like the mechanisms of this one work, it really isn't going to matter. But if you want it to like be perfectly aligned in here, now is your time to check, and if you need to, take just a tiny bit off of that edge. Okay, I'm happy with where it is. I've got maybe a 1/16 of an inch of overlap, and I'm fine with that. Okay, so this one we're gonna put that in here. Make sure that we didn't go too far. We're good. Go ahead and burnish that down, and there you go. Perfect. Okay, on to our next section. Okay. Oh, that's what I do. Okay, so there's going to be on the back side here. Okay, there's going to be 2 belly bands. However, I was going to size the overall width of them with one of the borders off of the border strip in the paper collection. So I have them at 6x2 right now. They will get cut down. I don't know that you'll even need both of these. You probably really only need one of them. So I think that's how we're going to do that, because I don't think it'll be any wider than 1 inch, unless you wanted to do double belly bands, which I think actually is what I'm going to do. Okay, so just so this is ready to go, we are going to put this with the 6 inch at the top, score it 1/2 inch, turn it around, 1/2 inch again. Okay, I'm going to do that on both pieces, and then I am going to just set them aside with my acetate. Okay, next layer, because truly that's kind of what it is. We're going to do some acetate flaps. So you need 2 pieces of the acetate that are 4 by 9.5. We're going to put these in at the end. So we're going to set those aside with our other piece. Okay. The tabs that are going to hold those those acetate pieces are going to attach to are going to be 9.5 by 1 1/4. So with the 1 1/4 at the top of the scoreboard, you're going to score this at 1/2 inch. And I know scoring the smaller pieces can be a little bit tricky. If it's easier to score it and then cut it at 1 1/4, like cut it from a bigger piece, by all means do that. Okay, so then 1/2 inch, whoops, as I hit my fingernail, and 3/4. Okay. So both of those pieces, does not look, what did I do? Okay, so it's just an illusion, it's fine. Okay, you're going to miter on one side. Okay, side that is not mitered, we're going to go ahead and add score tape so it's ready to go when we go to put our acetate on it. So I'm going to use 3/8 inch score tape, and I'm just going to kind of center that on the little piece that's not the side that's not mitered on both of these. That little tab at the top will be really easy to add this to after the fact. This one will be a little bit trickier, so we're just going to go ahead and do it now. And we're going to go ahead and fold this side that does not have the score tape on it. Okay. These are going to go on our sides here. Okay, so I'm going to turn this so I can see better where I want to line it up. I'm going to go ahead and put glue on that tab. Remember, this is the piece that we mitered that does not have the tape on it. And because this is actually shorter than the overall height, you're going to have about 1/4 of an inch top and bottom between that score line and this piece. Okay, I'm going to come put this other side in. Alright, go back to my first one, and then I can fold the other score line over and burnish that, which will be a little bit harder because of how it sits, but that's okay. Okay, so that side's ready to go. I'm ready to put the acetate on during matting and decorating. And there we go. Okay. So at this point this all closes up like so. Just since I've got the score tape out, I'm ready to go right now. I'm going to go ahead and put that on this little piece here. Okay. And our last elements are the bottom layer. First up, we've got a flap that is 10 by 5 1/4 with the 5 1/4 at the top. You're going to score this at 1/2 inch. Okay. Below that goes a pocket that is 11 by 5 1/4. So starting with the 11 inch at the top, you're going to score at 1/2 inch, turn it, 1/2 inch, turn, and 1/2 inch again. We're going to miter, 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 like so. On our flap, we're going to go ahead and miter that as well. I'm going to bring this back in, and it's entirely up to you which side you want this on. I'm going to put it over here on the left-hand side. So I'm going to fold over my long piece on the bottom first and burnish. And then I'll get my sides. Okay. Glue down that long edge first. And this is going to run top to bottom. And mine looks like it's just slightly larger than it needs to be. So I'm going to go ahead, wipe the glue off of that. And I'm going to take just on one edge and I'm going to score it again at 5/8. Adjust my mitering and then go ahead and put it in. Just because you don't want it pushing out on these pieces. And sometimes it'll slide right in there with no problem. And sometimes just because the way the paper kind of stretches when you're folding and burnishing and, you know, doing all these things, sometimes it doesn't fit quite as well. And you just have to know to check for it and adjust for it. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and glue this whole side down. And again. Now on the flap, because I did end up shortening up this pocket, I am going to take an 1/8 of an inch off of this one as well. And if you want to just start this with it at 9 7/8 to start with, you can absolutely do that. In fact, that would probably be a guaranteed way to make sure everything fits the way you want it to. I like to live dangerously. No, because I do this all the time. And I just, no. Okay. So I'm going to fold and burnish that score line. And this is just going to sit on top of that pocket, like so. Super easy. Okay, so I'm just taking that to the outside edge, line it up top to bottom, and there we go. There's our little flap. Okay, so for this other side, we're going to do, it's not quite a waterfall, but it's almost a waterfall. I don't honestly know what you would call this because it's just going to kind of go back and forth. And I sized this specifically to use on these two pieces, the little journaling list pieces, the 3x8 pieces. So that's what this is sized for over here. And these should fit, so they're going to run right parallel to that pocket. Okay. So let's move that. Grab the scoreboard. Okay, so we've got two pieces, 3 1/8 by 8 5/8. With the 8 5/8 at the top of the scoreboard, you're going to score 1/2 inch. Okay. You've got two pieces, 3 1/8 by 4 5/8. Same thing, we're going to put the 4 5/8 at the top of the scoreboard and score at 1/2 inch. Okay. And then we have two pieces, 3 5/8 by 4 1/8. That's not right, is it? Yes, it is. Okay, sorry. brain just completely shut off on me there for a second. Okay, so with the 3 5/8 at the top, you're going to score at 1/2 inch. And 1/2 inch. Okay. We're done scoring for now. I'm going to go ahead and miter. And miter. And miter. We're going to bring this back in. I'm going to start down here at this bottom end. I'm going to take one of my big pieces, one of my smaller pieces that's the same width. We'll save these 2 wider ones for last. Okay? So I'm going to start with my longer piece, and I'm going to fold and burnish. Glue on there, and then this is going to go in here like so. Okay. Take the smaller piece, fold and burnish. And that is going to go right on top of the other piece, like so. Okay, so those will fold in like that. Flip it around to the other side. We're going to do the same thing again on the other side. Starting with the big piece. Big problem is it actually feels light, so I think it's empty or close to it. Okay, so again, put it down just like you did the other one. Okay. And that one. Now these 2 pieces, I'm going to go ahead and fold and burnish both of them. So I envisioned these kind of sitting on top of each other like so, and going right here in the middle. You could do that. You could spread them out like so that they both flip out. You could, if you really wanted to get crazy, do them so they sit like so and put a magnet in there to hold this closed, and then do something similar on this side. I'm just going to have them flip out to the side. Okay, so I'm going to kind of line them up so I get them somewhat evenly spaced here. Okay, so I'll flip in here, and here. And then really, I may end up putting a magnet in here anyway just to hold those down. You could do a magnet here. You could have added ribbon going across to tie the whole thing up. I don't want to do that. Okay, so all we have left to do is add in our acetate. So I'm going to start with my inside flaps. I'm going to go ahead and pull the backing off of my tape. I'm going to kind of line this up, if I could talk, right up against the score line, okay? Up against the score line, and then fold this over and down, okay? And I'm mostly straight. I think we're good. Mostly straight. Here you go. It's fine, actually. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on this side, because again, the way this thing all closes up, it's not going to matter if it overlaps just a teensy bit in the middle. It really is not going to make any difference. Okay. All right, so there's that. So that's how that section's going to go together. This will come up here, this will come up here, and then our last one goes down here. So I'm going to go ahead and fold and burnish that score line. Get the tape off of that. And get my acetate. Fold that over and down. And then this, I am actually going to put a magnet to hold this whole thing closed. However, I'm not going to do it just yet because I need to figure out if I'm just doing a little like photo spot here, if I'm doing odds and ends, you know, whatever. So there is the base done, ready to go. So the next thing would just be matting and decorating. So let me get that started, and I'll show you how to do like your little diagonal pockets and how to mat something on acetate if that is something that you want to do. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, one last little piece. We have got a couple of inserts we're going to do for the folio. So first one, you're going to need a piece of cardstock that is 8 by 9. That is not my scoreboard. That would be incredibly helpful to have the thing I want to have. So 8 by 9 with the 9" across the top of your scoreboard, you are going to score this at 4.5 inches. Okay, so this one will go in the big pocket in the back. Okay, so you'll just mat, decorate, however you want to do that. And then I've got 2 that are 6 by 8, and you're going to score these at, hold on, how was I doing this? Okay, 6 inches at the top of the scoreboard, you're going to score it 3 inches. It's like, how? Okay, and these are going to go in that little double belly band that we did on the back of the flaps, the second layer of flaps. So that is literally all there is to that. And when we come back, I'll show you some little tricks with the decorating. I'll show you the belly bands and how I'm doing the magnet. Okay, so let's go over how we're going to do a couple of these elements. So I haven't glued this down yet. So I've got my magnetic closure here, and what I really think I want to do is I'm going to, when I put this on here, I think I'm actually going to end up trimming off about 1.5 inches or so of the bottom of this, but I haven't done it yet. So what I'm going to do is this little guy is going to go on here, and I'm going to grab some score tape. So I did this with a 2.5 inch circle punch, so that it's going to be slightly smaller than this little guy that's going to go on the back side. Okay. There's actually an odds and ends that's about the same size as this guy, but he'd be upside down when you flip this up, so that's why I decided not to go that route. Okay, so I'm gonna take the backing off. I'm gonna line this up so that the top of my circle is near the top of the pocket. Make sure it's lined up. Okay. I'm going to take this guy. I am going to go ahead and add some glue to the back just because of where he's sitting. I don't want him to end up popping off. He's going to sit right there like that. Then I'm going to open this up. And this will go like so. So you'll have just a tiny white border around that. And rather than put the adhesive on this, I'm going to put it on here directly so that I'm doing it so that you can't see it. Which, with the patterned acetate, that's really not as much of an issue as if you do that with the clear acetate. But if you can find a way to hide that adhesive, all the better. Okay, so it needs to go like so, like that. And it's not quite, slightly crooked. That's the other nice thing about acetate. Because you're using tape, you can also use undo when you need to, which I find myself doing more than I would have thought. Okay, so I'll give that just a second to dry. Actually, I'm going to pull this one off the back of this guy. Put a new piece on there. Just so it's not like bubbled up. And this time, which is what I should have done the first time, I'm going to hold it up this way. And make sure I'm lining it up so that the border around that is mostly even. I'm still just a hair off, but not enough that it's going to matter. Okay, so then that will attach to that magnet down there. And as far as for the amount that I'm going to cut off of this, I can actually just flip this over, feed this in, and line up how much of that I want to trim off. Maybe. I think my Doodle Pop's getting in the way there. Yep. Okay, so we're going to grab big scissors. Should have done that before I put him on there, but wasn't entirely sure. Okay. Alright, so that is lined up where I want it. Now all I have to do is just glue my matting down there, but before we do that, because I'll do that off camera, that's not a big deal. So I went ahead and matted the insides of my pockets with the matting on the diagonal pockets. Okay, this is the pattern I'm going to use. All I did is measure how wide my pocket is. So this is 4.5. So this is 4 3/8. So that we have our same border that we're using on the rest of the matting. And literally, the biggest thing with doing these is making sure that the paper you're using isn't directional. Okay. And all I'm going to do is line this up in here the exact same way I did it to make the pockets. And then we're going to see if it fits the way we want it. If it's too big. And if you want to take some more off of it, don't try to take it off this edge, okay? Take it off that straight edge. Okay, so just a tiny bit more off of that. Okay, all right, that one will be good. That one I'm going to do the same thing. I probably will be doing it on the other piece as well. And I mean literally I'm taking like a 16th off just to get it to sit a little bit better. Okay. So you get the basic idea there. I'll glue those down in a minute. Now, our little belly band pieces. So when I was first working on this, it was going to be turned the other direction, so like that way. And that's where I was like, oh, cool, I can use the border for the belly band. And then I turned it the other way, not thinking that the borders don't go this way, the borders go this way. So I ended up just matting those with just the back side of one of the papers. I can't remember which one it is that has the plaid, but anyway. So all I need to do is go ahead and fold those tabs over and go ahead and glue these down. And I am going to do the double belly bands like I had said when we were scoring all of this earlier. I'm just having a horrible time with the glue today. Okay, so I'm going to go in, that like that, glue it down, try to do about the same spacing on the other side. Okay. Okay. All right. Oh, come on. Okay, and then all I have to do is slide my matting underneath. Like so. Except that one doesn't want to play nicely. Oh, that's why. It's because this was the weird paper that I like nicked the edge, and I'm not sure how. So I just need to decide which side I'm doing up, and honestly, I kind of like the polka dots. So rather than pull this all the way out, all I'm going to do is lift up on this side, get my glue there, same thing on the other side. So, and then I can just stick this under the edge here and get some glue down there. Same thing on this side. And there you go. That's how easy it is to do the belly band. So I will do the other side off camera. Everything in here is just, you know, very straightforward. I've got my little list pieces cut to mat that. I cut that one too short. Oh my gosh. You know, this piece is just going to slide in here. I probably need to take a tiny bit off the end of that. And it will slide partway down into that pocket. This one I apparently measured completely wrong. Nothing new there. So I'll probably do something a little bit different over here now. But yeah, I mean, that's literally all there is to it. And then just finish matting and decorating and all that kind of fun stuff. And in the back, just I matted like this. I'll probably use one of the stickers from the This and That sticker sheet and just put it on the back. I do like doing that in the middle of a back cover like that. And then I did go ahead and mat the outside facing, well, I didn't get that one, edges of those gussets. You can leave them, you can mat them, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, so that's about it. As always, thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys stopping by. If you end up making this project, please share it with me on Facebook at Scrapping Under the Influence, or you can tag me on Instagram at Scrapping Under the Influence. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!